Hey everybody, I'm Michael Light, and this is my podcast, The Biblonian. I'm a layman who is crazy about the Hebrew Bible and about Second Temple Jewish theology. And on this podcast, I'm exploring all of the Hebrew Bible and how it is all completed in the life, death, and resurrection of my Messiah Jesus. I also read and write about theology and about other religions that I'm studying, and you can see all those raw thoughts by following me on my socials, which you can find in my website, which actually has all of my finished products, and all of my notes, essays, and other writings about Christian theology and other religions. With all that being said, let's move right into the episode for this week. So, I thought it might be good to start this first podcast episode by explaining the name of this podcast, because so much of what I want this podcast to be is centered around the idea behind the name. I chose the name The Biblonian because I thought it would be a cool wordplay on the words Bible and Babylonian, of course. I chose these two words because I think it brings up a really interesting point about the Bible that I think most people don't really consider. And that's that the Bible is a really strange but wonderful foreign collection of books that I think so many of us don't deeply consider. It wasn't until someone mentioned it to me that I really thought about the fact that I study texts from the opposite side of the globe that were written 4,000 to 2,000 years ago every day as if it's totally normal. And that's exactly what I don't want to do on this podcast. In fact, the goal of this podcast is to read those texts as anything but normal. Another reason I chose to mash the word Bible with Babylon is because of the significance of Babylon to Second Temple Judaism, which makes up a lot of my studies and was the very setting that Jesus learned and taught in. You see, the Jews at the time of the Second Temple had just gotten out of exile to Babylon, and as they started to reconstruct the Second Temple, they had to find out a way to faithfully follow God's instruction to them once again. They had to completely rediscover what it meant to be God's chosen people. On top of that is the idea of the Tower of Babylon, which is often rendered as the Tower of Babel, but is actually the same word as Babylon in Hebrew. That is, the fact that we make our own false version of heaven, and it ends up paving the road to destruction. In this podcast, I not only want to help others to rediscover what it means to be a faithful follower of Jesus, but I also want to take apart ideas that are destructive, and they may make heaven, God's kingdom, to be something that it totally isn't. With all that said, I'm extremely excited to kick this off and see where it goes. It would be much appreciated if you're enjoying this podcast, or if you're also excited about it, if you could leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Thanks for listening, and I can't wait to catch you the next time. Bye.